Today we're talking about the most frequently asked questions in the concrete and hydrostone candle making world. I've seen these questions come up a gazillion times. If you want to avoid frustration, save time, and actually enjoy the process of making and selling your concrete candles, you need answers to these questions. But here's the thing, getting these answers isn't just about solving one problem and moving on. The right knowledge can save you from making costly mistakes, wasting materials, and wondering if this concrete candle making thing is even worth it.
Keep it coming, keep it coming.
I've pretty much struggled with these same questions when I first started out, so today we're not going to just list them, we're breaking them down, giving you straight up answers and making sure you walk away knowing exactly what to do next. Let's go. Hi, my name is Jay Catalano. This video is timestamped so you can move around at your convenience. I'm new here. Where do I start? The good news is you've already started because you're here. This video is a great place to begin. As I said, this video is timestamped for your convenience. If you see a common problem that you need to fix, jump to that section, watch, learn, and test it out for yourself. Another great place to start is my YouTube channel, UpVibe. Actually, you are on it now watching this video. However, I have a ton of other videos that I've created over the years that are detailed, educational, and a bit entertaining.
Honestly, I don't think so.
You just have to look around my YouTube channel and see which videos you think will help you along your journey. They all will. Lastly, my course, The Winning Formula, is a comprehensive step-by-step video guide to help you master concrete and hydrostone candle making from start to finish. My course is for anyone, however, it is specifically designed for 3 types of people. Number 1, those who need a little hand-holding. You want guidance, feedback, and reassurance along the way. Number 2, those who love step-by-step instructions. You prefer a clear roadmap instead of figuring things out through trial and error. And number 3, those who want direct access to me. I have a private Facebook group. You want to ask questions, get support, and avoid unnecessary frustration. Now let's be real. You can figure this out all on your own. Plenty of people do.
What the hell am I supposed to do now?
But think of it like trying to get to a new destination that you've never been to before. You could walk, hoping you're headed in the right way, but you might find yourself in unfamiliar territory facing unexpected detours and delays. Or you could drive with a GPS, getting you there faster, staying on the best route, and knowing exactly what to expect. My course is that GPS. It's not just about getting there, it's about truly understanding the process, reaching your creative goals with confidence, clarity, and fewer roadblocks. So the question isn't if you can or can't do this, you can. It's how quickly and smoothly you want to get there. What's the best concrete to use? This is one of those questions that's going to depend on where you live. If you live in the United States, then Cement All in the blue bag is the way to go. As an alternative, Hydrostone is pretty popular and also a good choice. If you live in another country, you're screwed. I'm just kidding. I created a resource page for my international creative people. You can check out the resource link in the description. Just open it, select your country, and you'll find a list of the most popular products used by makers in your area, all in one place. Now, as you will quickly learn, I don't have a lot of countries listed.
You're kidding me.
The reason? It's not that I don't like your country. Well, just kidding. Unfortunately, if your country is not on the list, I wasn't able to find sufficient data to make a confident recommendation about the best products to use for your country. However, here's what you can do if your country isn't listed. Number 1, go to your local hardware store and ask for products similar to the products used for concrete vessels. Explain to them what you want to do and go from there. Number 2, Find the closest city, state, municipality, town, province, region, county, or whatever you call it around your area and see what they have that might be useful and have it shipped. Number 3, have products imported to your country. Expensive? Yes, but if you can believe this, some of my international students actually do this because they are making good money in this business and the alternatives aren't as good. And speaking of alternatives, number 4, there are several different mixtures you can use to make concrete jars, from ready-made formulas to mixing raw ingredients yourself. If you're unsure which option is best for you, check out the video in the description. I break down alternatives which will help you choose the right one. What's the difference between Cement All and Hydrostone? While Cement All and Hydrostone are both great for making candle jars, they're like two very different personalities at a party. Cement All is a multi-purpose construction material and non-shrink grout. It's a fast-setting, high-strength mix made from CSA cement and silica sand. It's tough and incredibly strong and ready to handle just about anything. In fact, once it cures, it reaches a PSI, pounds per square inch, of 9,000, making it highly resistant to impact, moisture, and wear and tear over time. Super durable. Hydrostone, on the other hand, is a gypsum-based casting material known for its high strength, smooth finish, and quick setting time. It's one of the strongest plasters you can use for craft making with a PSI of 10,000. But here's the catch. Strength on paper doesn't always mean strength in real life. So why is Cement All generally stronger even though Hydrostone has a higher PSI? Great question. Because PSI only measures how much pressure something can handle when squeezed. It doesn't account for impact, water resistance, or overall toughness. Now, don't go and test your candle jars by squeezing them. They are relatively thin to begin with, so naturally, if you are strong, you'll be able to crack it or even break it. In any event, Cement All holds up better in the long run because concrete is built to take a beating, while Hydrostone, though incredibly strong, it's more brittle and doesn't handle moisture quite as well. Think of it like a football player versus a ballet dancer. A ballet dancer might have incredible strength and precision, but a football player is built to take impact and keep going. So whether you go with Cement All or Hydrostone, remember both will work for your candle jars, but, and this is a big but, knowing what you're working with can make all the difference in avoiding some epic fails. What is the formula for Cement All and Hydrostone? When making Cement All or Hydrostone creations, there is a certain amount of water you need to add to your mix. Naturally, if their properties are different, their water amounts will be different as well. And with that said, let's break them down. Cement All has a 4:1 ratio, while Hydrostone has a 3:1 ratio. What that means is that for every 4 parts of Cement All, you'll need 1 part of water. So for every 4 cups of Cement All, you add 1 cup of water. For Hydrostone, it's 3:1, meaning for every 3 parts Hydrostone, you'll add 1 part of water. So for every 3 cups of Hydrostone, you add 1 cup of water. Let me guess, you're more confused than a dog at a squirrel convention.
What the hell are you talking about?
Let's say you need 400 grams of Cement All using the 4:1 ratio. You'll want to use 4 parts Cement All to 1 part water. So for 400 grams of Cement All you'll need to do is add 100 grams of water. For Hydrostone, with its 3:1 ratio, you'll need 3 parts Hydrostone to 1 part water. So for 400 grams of Hydrostone, you'll need about 133 grams of water. It's that simple. If you get confused, you have 3 ways you can fix that confusion. Number 1, ask Google. Google has a new built-in AI system that's great for asking questions just like this. Number 2, ask ChatGPT. Similar to Google's AI system, ChatGPT is also great for answering questions just like this. And number 3, you can always go back to 3rd grade. It's never too late to get an elementary school education. Where can I buy Cement All and Hydrostone? While Cement All is pretty easy to come by, Hydrostone is not. Let me explain. Cement All is easily purchased at Home Depot. Not Lowe's, not Ace Hardware, Home Depot. In fact, I have never seen a shortage of Cement All no matter how many times I go for more. So if you have a Home Depot near you, head on over there and pick up some Cement All in the blue bag. However, Hydrostone is not so easily available. There are 4 ways to find Hydrostone near you. Number 1, call up any pottery or sculpture supply store near you. Those types of stores usually carry Hydrostone. I have 2 in my area, and luckily for me, they have Hydrostone on their shelves. Number 2, contact Reynolds Advanced Materials. They sell Hydrostone, and see if there is a location near you. Fortunately for me, I have a Reynolds not too far from my home. Number 3, reach out to Euclid's in Canada and have it shipped. I've done this myself. Shipping isn't cheap, but I don't mind paying as I know I will make my money back. Number 4, go to usg.com, search for Hydrostone, then click where to buy, and sometimes they have locations that have it and sometimes they don't. You'll have to check the recommended stores that they display on their site. So while Cement All is pretty easy to get, Hydrostone requires a little effort. However, with these 4 options above, you should be able to locate some Hydrostone near you. Where do you buy your silicone molds? Here's the advice I give all my beginner students.
Wake your ass up.
Don't rush out and buy a ton of fancy silicone molds. Stick with 1 or 2 and really master those first. See if you even like this whole concrete and Hydrostone candle making thing to begin with. The last thing you want is to invest in a bunch of molds only to realize later that it's not your thing after all. There are 2 suggestions I can offer. Number 1, buy some silicone molds from Amazon. I'll leave a link in the description. They are relatively inexpensive and you don't have to put a lot of effort into them. And number 2, buy some secondhand molds from D-Stash groups. This is a great way to get a few nicer silicone molds without spending a fortune. Now, if you want to know where I buy most of my silicone molds, even my custom ones, I get them from Boo and Nicole. They are high quality, easy to work with, and affordable. Obviously, there are other silicone mold places to buy from. If you are interested in other places to buy silicone molds, check out my resources page on my website. It will list various options for you to choose from. Can I add pigments, acrylic paints, or dyes to my mix? When it comes to using pigments, acrylic paints, or dyes, sure, you can use them. But, and this is an even bigger but, not all pigments, paints, or dyes work the same. Why? Because each manufacturer uses certain binders, chemicals, and formulas that can react differently with your Cement All or Hydrostone mix. Some might not mix well, while others could affect the curing process or the texture of your final piece. So while it's tempting to grab whatever's around, it's important to test first and see how they perform. What pigments, acrylic paints, or dyes should I use? Here's a statement I say quite often. The best time to take care of your health is when you have it. And with that said, there are 2 things you need to think about when buying pigments, acrylic paints, or dyes. Number 1, is it heat resistant? And number 2, does it emit any chemicals when a candle is being burned, like dangerous VOCs? If you aren't making candles, you have a little more color freedom to choose from.
Let go, be free, do you have fun?
When it comes to pigments, some of my favorites are from Glow Marble as well as the Jesmonite collection. When it comes to acrylic paints, I mostly use Apple Barrel. And when it comes to dyes, I love using RIT dye. Again, check out the resource page in the description. There'll be various options you can choose from. What's the difference between drying and curing? Let me guess, you didn't know there was a difference between drying and curing. Drying is the beginning phase where moisture evaporates from your creation, meaning it's no longer wet to the touch. It might feel dry, but that doesn't mean it's ready to do what it was intended to do. Drying is just the surface level change. Curing, on the other hand, is where the magic happens.
Would you like to see a magic trick?
It's a chemical process where your creation hardens over time, gaining strength and durability. Curing can take days, sometimes even weeks, depending on what you're using. While drying happens quickly, curing is what turns your creation from a soft, workable material into a solid, durable object that can stand up to wear and tear. If you don't let something fully cure, you risk compromising its strength, durability, and overall effectiveness. So remember, just because it feels dry doesn't mean it's ready to do what it's supposed to do. How long do I need to let my creation cure? This is one of those questions that gets asked more times than a teenager rolls their eyes at their parents. Here's the thing, nobody can truly answer that question except you. Confused? Don't be. The truth is, the curing time is based on the size of your item, the temperature in your workspace, and the humidity in the air. And by the way, no, you can't speed up the curing process by putting your creation in the oven. That would be, how shall I say?
So stupid.
Your environment might be a bit different from mine, which means your curing time could vary. For example, if you're working in a warmer, drier environment, the curing process will speed up. But if you're in a cooler, more humid space, it'll take longer. Okay, I know what you're thinking. Jay, I don't care about all of that. Just tell me something to make me happy. All right, here's the scoop. Let me tell you how long it takes for a candle jar of this size to cure in both Cement All and Hydrostone for me. But before I do that, let me share how you can determine if an item you made is fully cured. Here's what you're going to do. Immediately after demolding your creation, weigh it and jot that number down. Then, the following day, weigh it again and jot that number down. On the third day, do the same thing. You'll continue this until that number stabilizes within a couple of grams. For example, if this vessel had a demolding weight of 340 grams and it lost weight each day until it leveled out at 315, I would know it's cured enough to move on to the next step. Keep in mind, humidity can cause slight fluctuations. One day it might read 315 grams, the next 316, and then 314. That's totally okay. The day the weight stabilizes within 1 or 2 grams, that's the day you can confidently say your creation is cured enough to move on to the next step. For me, it takes 4 days for a Cement All vessel to cure and 3 days for a Hydrostone vessel to cure. Do I need to water bathe my creations after demolding? Let's start with what water bathing actually is. Water bathing is a technique used to help concrete cure more evenly and reduce the chance of cracking. After your creation is demolded, you place it in water for a period of time, usually several hours, to keep it moist. Why? Because keeping moisture in during curing can help the creation reach its maximum strength and durability. And in case you didn't know, concrete hardens due to hydration and not because it dries. Now, should you water bathe Cement All creations? Here's where it gets interesting. If you look at the Cement All instructions, you'll see it says water cure all Cement All installations by keeping exposed surfaces wet for a minimum of 1 hour. But, and this is the biggest but of them all, we're not pouring sidewalks or fixing driveways, we're making concrete candle jars. So do you absolutely need to water bathe? Well, it depends. Some creators live in a drier, hotter area where Cement All cures so fast that it can crack or develop surface imperfections without some added moisture. For them, water bathing or even lightly misting it with a spray bottle makes a huge difference. Others like me don't need to do it.
Oh, you lucky bastard.
My environment and timing usually allows my Cement All creations to cure properly without water bathing them. So do you need to water bathe your Cement All creations? The real answer is Maybe. It all depends on you and where you live. Run a test and see how it goes. I have a video that goes into more detail. Check it out when you can. Video is in the description. But what about Hydrostone? This one is easy. No water bathing ever.
Well, praise the Lord.
Hydrostone is a gypsum-based product, not cement-based like Cement All. It cures through a different chemical process, and exposing it to extra water after demolding can actually weaken your piece, not help it. You don't want to mess with its natural curing flow. Just demold it and let it do its thing. Do I need to seal my Cement All and Hydrostone creations? Cement All, as well as Hydrostone, is very porous.
What does that mean?
That means they naturally absorb water, oils, wax, and pretty much anything they come in contact with. Think of them like solid sponges. If left unsealed, they'll soak up whatever's around, and over time, they can lead to stains, discoloration, or damage. Now, let's look at both separately. While Cement All is strong, with a comprehensive strength of 9,000 psi, as we discussed earlier, it's still porous. If you're making candle jars for candle wax, sealing is a must. It protects your creation from wax seeping out and anything looking to penetrate back in. Plus, depending on the sealer you use, it can deepen colors, give a subtle sheen, or even make your creation feel softer to the touch. Now, let's talk Hydrostone. That's even thirstier than Cement All.
I'm just being honest.
Because it's gypsum based, it drinks up moisture like it's been stranded on a desert. If you don't seal your Hydrostone creations, especially for functional pieces like candle jars, they will leak wax, possibly crack, or start breaking down over time. So yeah, sealing isn't optional here, it's a must. Which is the best sealer? Asking which sealer is the best for handmade creations is like asking someone which city has the best pizza. New York, of course.
Boink. Duh.
Luckily, like pizzerias, there are a lot of sealers out there. However, there is one teeny tiny problem. There is only one sealer on the market that I know of that is specifically made for concrete, Hydrostone, and even jesmonite candle jars. That sealer I'm referring to is from Earth Safe Finishes. Now, there are others on the market that might work for concrete, usually not Hydrostone. I'll explain why in a second. For concrete, there's Eco Advance, Rutland's Efflorescence Blocker, and a few more. But I'll leave a video for you to check out so you can see which ones work best for you. So when it comes to concrete, you have options, but sadly, you don't have any other options that I know of when it comes to Hydrostone. To be fair, I have heard Eco Advance works for some and not for others, and so if you choose to try it, just know that it might fail. And with that said, why aren't there any other sealants for Hydrostone? The first reason is economics. All businesses want to make money, and there isn't a high demand for Hydrostone sealers, and so it's not something that is easily available. The second reason, Hydrostone is not normally designed to withstand heat over 125 degrees. So why would companies make a sealant for a product that has a temperature limit? If the temperature of your candle jar reaches over 125 degrees, which it will, and it's not sealed, calcination starts to happen. What is calcination? Calcination refers to the process of heating a material to a high temperature to cause chemical or physical changes. Anything over 125 degrees and calcination can start to occur in Hydrostone. Now, I know what you're thinking. Why would I use a product that will break down if I'm making a candle? That is where sealers come in. Now, if you have kids, you might want to send them in the other room now.
Go up to your room now.
Think of a sealant like a condom. Don't worry, this is as deep as I go. No pun intended. Condoms are 98% effective, but 2% of the time, this happens. In all seriousness, in case my kids are watching, I want you both to know that neither of you were accidents. I wanted you both, and I love you dearly, but I digress. Now, I don't know what the rate of success of a sealant on a candle jar that is 140 degrees is, but I have never had a Hydrostone candle jar crack on me. In fact, all of my Hydrostone loving friends have had positive experiences when using Hydrostone. Oh. You just have to keep the maximum surface jar temperature of your jar at 140 degrees and protect your vessels with a sealant like earth-safe finishes. What temperature can I pour my wax into my vessel? The lower the temperature you pour your candle wax into your concrete or Hydrostone vessel, the better. However, for your information, concrete is a little more forgiving than Hydrostone.
That's good to know.
Before I explain what I mean, let me tell you that I normally pour candle wax into a vessel at about 150 to 160 degrees. Now you might be thinking, Jay, I heard that I have to pour my candle wax at a much higher temperature for better hot throw results.
That's bull-ish.
Ask yourself this, are you regurgitating that information or did you test this theory out yourself? Now, it is true that there could be some adhesion issues or possible sinkhole issues if you pour at various temperatures. However, like I said above, I pour at about 150 to 160 degrees and I have never had an issue.
Wow. Okay.
Here's the problem. Hydrostone, unlike concrete, is a bit more sensitive to higher pouring temperatures. So the higher you pour your candle wax in a Hydrostone vessel, the more potential that vessel has to crack. Again, 150 to 160 degrees and you should be good. I use cement or plaster of Paris and my creations keep breaking. Without going into a long-winded explanation, there is a difference between cement and concrete. Cement is just one ingredient. It's the glue that holds things together, kind of like flour in a cake. On its own, it's weak, and it's not meant to be poured by itself for strong, durable pieces. Concrete, on the other hand, is a mix of cement, sand, and an aggregate like rocks or pebbles, which gives it its strength and structure. So, if you're just using cement and water, you're basically asking for cracks, chips, and heartache. If you want to learn more about the difference between cement and concrete, I'll link a video for you for educational purposes. It'll be in the description below. Now, let's talk plaster of Paris. Plaster of Paris sets fast and it's super easy to work with, but it's also the weakest plasters on the market, making it a no-go for anything exposed to moisture or heat like candles. In essence, plaster of Paris is more for decorative pieces that just sit there and look pretty. If you're pouring candle jars, plaster of Paris is gonna break your heart and your jars. Remember, Hydrostone, unlike plaster of Paris, is the strongest plaster on the market, and so that is why Hydrostone is the way to go. How do I prevent air bubbles? If you want to remove most, if not all of your air bubbles in your creations, there are 4 things you need to do. The first thing is make sure you are mixing your mixture correctly. Add the water, then the Cement All or Hydrostone, whichever you're using, then start mixing. Doing it this way helps minimize trapped air and gives you a smoother, more consistent mix. When you add powder to your water, instead of water to powder, it hydrates more evenly and reduces the amount of air bubbles getting caught. The second thing is to remember, make sure you're mixing correctly. If you're mixing like this, you will undoubtedly get air bubbles. If you're mixing like this, you will not. The third thing you could do is you can massage your silicone mold when it is partially filled. Massaging helps remove some air bubbles that got trapped when you poured your mixture. And the fourth and final thing you can do is use a vibrating machine. A vibrating machine helps to remove some of the stubborn bubbles that formed when you were mixing like this. Those are the 4 tips that will help you greatly, but there is no guarantee that you won't have the occasional bubble or 2 or 10 during your creative process. Why are my jars cracking or breaking? If your pieces keep cracking, you're not alone. It happens to the best of us, but usually it comes down to one of these common issues. Number one, too much water in the mix. It might seem like adding extra water makes things smoother, but it actually weakens the structure. That softness could show up later as cracks. Number two, extreme temperatures. Hot or dry conditions equals fast evaporation. Cold temperatures equals slow curing. Both mess with the setting process and can lead to surface stress and cracking. Number three, wrong powder to water ratio. Your formula matters. Too much or too little of either part and your mix won't be strong enough to hold up over time. Number four, overdoing pigments or paints. Adding too much dye, pigment, or paint, especially oil or water-based ones, can mess with the balance and weaken the final piece. Number five, not letting it cure long enough. Rushing the curing time? That's like pulling a cake out of the oven too soon. It hasn't had time to set fully, so it's more likely to crack later. Number six, pouring hot wax into unsealed concrete. If your piece isn't sealed and you pour hot wax, the heat can stress the surface and lead to cracking. Number seven, rough or forceful demolding. Yanking the mold out too quickly or too roughly can cause stress cracks, especially in detailed or delicate areas. And number eight, thin walls or sharp angles. These are just natural weaker spots. They need extra care and sometimes even design tweaks to avoid stress during demolding or handling. So if you're tired of your pieces cracking, check the list we just went through and troubleshoot one step at a time.
Okay.
A few small tweaks can make a huge difference in the strength and durability. What is that white stuff or wet spots on my creation? Let's start with the white stuff.
Oh, that's cocaine.
That's usually efflorescent. It happens when water inside your concrete or hydrostone carries salts and minerals to the surface as it evaporates. Once the water dries, it sometimes leaves behind a white powdery or crusty residue. It's harmless, but yeah, it messes with the look. To fix it, you can firmly but carefully wipe it off with a damp cloth or use a mixture of vinegar and water to gently scrub it away. Sometimes efflorescence is stubborn. If it is, you might try sealing it to see how your pieces look. Sometimes a good coat of sealant will make it look much more similar to what you had in mind. To avoid efflorescence in the first place, try adding just a tad less water in your mix to see if that fixes your issue. Also, check the humidity levels. The more moisture that's in the air, the more likely it is for efflorescence to form. And by the way, humidity isn't dependent on temperature. It can be 100 degrees in dry or 100 degrees in humid. Likewise, it can be 32 degrees in dry and 32 degrees in humid.
So smart.
Now, those wet-looking spots on concrete, especially Cement All, are usually moisture bleed or uneven curing. That means parts of your piece are holding onto water longer than others, either because of how it was mixed, how thick it is in certain areas, or the environment it cured in. If those wet spots don't dry on their own or continue to show up even after proper curing, it could be a sign of moisture trapped inside, especially if the piece is thicker or heavier. Also, check to see if there are any oil deposits on your mold from the manufacturer or from your hands as you continuously demold it. Try giving your silicone mold a good cleaning and dry it thoroughly and see how your pieces turn out. I'll link a video on how to properly clean your silicone molds as well. Link is in the description. Another thing you have to think about is it could also potentially be your Cement All or Hydrostone. Every so often you receive a bad batch and or a batch that needs a good stirring. Try mixing your Cement All and Hydrostone as best as you can. To minimize wet spots, try adding a little less water, as I said above, and let your pieces cure in a dry, shaded space. Why are the bottoms of my jars so rough looking? The roughness on the bottoms of your candle jars is usually caused by air bubbles rising to the top of the silicone mold during the pour. As the mixture settles, the air bubbles tend to rise to the top and get trapped, leaving a rougher looking texture there. If you're mixing your Cement All or Hydrostone properly and in an easy, gentle manner, the bottoms should look pretty smooth. The key is to avoid over mixing, which can trap unnecessary air, and to pour slowly to reduce the chance of bubbles forming. But if the rough looking bottoms still show up, no worries. You can easily hide imperfections by adding a protective bottom or safety sticker. This not only gives your jar a cool finished look, but also covers up any imperfections on the bottom. It might not be the perfect solution, but it's a simple fix that can save you time and frustration. And take a look at these videos that are popping up now. They're gonna help you on your concrete, hydrostone, and candle making journey. Until next time, thanks for watching. Ciao.